something important. Following Jesus does not exempt us from storms. Following Jesus does not give us an exemption to storms. Let's look back at verses 35 and 36 of our text. It says, "On that day when evening had come, he said to them," who's he? Jesus. Jesus said to them, who's them? The disciples. So on that day when evening had come, Jesus said to the disciples, "Let us go across to the other side." And leaving the crowd, the disciples took Jesus with them in the boat, just as he was, and other boats were with him. You see, the disciples from day one had followed Jesus. They'd seen Jesus do all kinds of cool things, right? They'd seen him heal the sick. They'd seen him multiply food and feed the hungry. They'd heard him teach. They'd seen miracles. And Jesus, at this point, invites them to cross the sea. They probably think that's a pretty easy task, right? It's something they had done before. They'd been in boats. So what did they do? Jesus said, "Hey, let's go across the sea." What did they do? They got in the boat and they started across the sea. But yet what still happens? The storm still comes. I like you. You're talking back to me. I like it, yeah. So the storm still happens. In fact, it was Jesus' idea to get in the boat to begin with, right? He says, "Come, let us go across to the other side." It's Jesus' idea to get in the boat. It's Jesus' idea to cross the sea. I would say, I'd go out on a limb to say this actually, that the disciples were probably in the very will of God in that moment. Wouldn't you say so? They're doing exactly what he asked them to do. They were right in the will of God. But even though they were in the will of God, what still happens? The storm still comes.